Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome you to our annual spring concert, and we're really excited to have a great evening of music that we've been putting together over the last few months, last few weeks. We are going to kind of change up the program a little bit. We have some students that had a transportation issue, and so we want to make sure they get here and do their performance with the vocal music group, and so we're going to start with band. You can see our program there in what we're going to perform with for you on the program. So please enjoy. We're going to just toot a little bit, warm up, and then we'll get started momentarily. Okay, thank you so much. That is one that once that's in your head, it's there all day. You know, I end the day with that. I'm in the car on the way home, and I'm sure that people watch me on the freeway as I'm driving by, and I'm playing drum beats on my steering wheel, and I'm beep, 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 beep. And it's from the Irish Suite by Leroy Anderson. You might recognize Leroy Anderson's name in your program. He's the guy that composed the music and arranged the music for Christmas Festival, which is something that we play during the holiday season. He also did Sleigh Ride. If you're familiar with Buechler's Holiday or with the Typewriter Song, there's a number of really, really catchy tunes that he wrote as an American composer. And that's one, there are certain tunes that everyone needs to have the opportunity to play. And so I know I was talking with Mrs. Bindis the other day. I know that some of her kids, her own children, played that same tune when they came through our program and enjoy playing it to this day. So definitely a classic for concert band, Leroy Anderson's The Rakes of Mallow from the Irish Suite. Okay, this next tune is one that I heard years ago at the Bowling Green State University Honors Band. I had a number of students that went there back in the day, and I heard this performed, and I'm like, wow, it's just an unbelievable piece. When the guy wrote this, Carl Holmquist, he was only in his 20s. And he won a Young Composers competition for putting this all together. And what's amazing about it is he was very greatly influenced by the music of New Orleans, went down there and visited. And, obviously music is in the air, and you can go into, any club or restaurant or even on the street, and people are just playing blues and American music. And it very much influenced him to write this next composition. It's simply entitled Play. And I think that the joy of when you're, trying your instrument for the first time, or you get that out of the case, and it's hard to go back as a musician, especially if you've been doing it for years and years, just like the wonder of getting that instrument out and just trying to get a sound on it, trying to figure out how to play something, where to even put your fingers. And it was just like that newness and that freshness I think he's trying to capture that in this piece. Amazing thing about it, it is going to feature Desiree Gales on the piano. And so that's definitely a neat part of this tune. We like to feature her. She's a very accomplished pianist, and we enjoy having her fulfilling that role in this piece. And what I want you to listen for is there's a simple melody that is played. It's introduced right away from the clarinets. And then there's this other catchy melody that has a little bit more movement to it. And basically every section of the band is playing that at some point, and they layer this all up. And sometimes they're playing that melody together, sometimes they're playing it at separate times, so you have what we call a fugue, where the same melody is being played, but it's starting at different times. And then later on in the piece, there's a famous traditional hymn called The Fount of Every Blessing that begins in the brass. And you're going to hear like this slower melody being played underneath the entire band while that New Orleans swinging rhythm is playing up over the top. It's quite amazing. Huge fan of it. Please enjoy Carl Holmquist's Play. Okay, some cool moments in there. Some cool moments, some great soloists. Desiree Gales on piano. Desiree Gales on piano. Right in the middle of that, the cool clarinet solo, rubato, man, just killed it. Great job. Sienna Jackson on the clarinet. Wow. Our trumpets were featured at times too. I do believe we had Carson Artem on trumpet, Aaron Sharp, and Zach Masseri also. Brandy Becky at one point on flute as well. McKenna Loddig on alto saxophone. And then it goes without saying, but man, you can't play that, and it's not in four, so there's like threes and twos and fours and all these different shifting meters. You know, the beat isn't always the same as you're going through it, but you can't do that without that percussion section. And I know that we had basically holding that down back there on the snare drum today, Philip Lepp did an outstanding job. Give it up for Philip. Okay, so we're gonna do this next one, and this has actually been one that we've had in the folder for quite some time. I want to say we're the type of group where the way that we kind of run things. To give you an example, tomorrow we're going to start with all new music because we have graduation coming up. We've already been doing Memorial Day stuff because we performed at Cedar Point over the weekend. Had a fantastic day of that, but we've already been kind of in that mode. But there are no like days off, so it's like you come back the very next day after the Christmas concert even, and they already have new music in their folder. And I really appreciate all the help that I get from my band aides. That's the band term for office aides, as well as our librarians and other people that volunteer their time that are sitting up here on stage, because those things aren't possible without a group of kids to help you get that music stuffed in the slots and out to everybody, and just such a helpful group with that. But this next tune has actually been in the folder for quite some time, and it's entitled Shackelford Banks, Tale of the Wild Mustangs. And Shackelford Banks is actually an island that is south of the Outer Banks. If you've ever been over to North Carolina, it's actually a North Carolina island, and it's uninhabited. But if you know anything about the Outer Banks, if you've ever traveled down there, there are certain portions of that are really built up with hotels, and you know, you have beachfront condos and all that kind of stuff. And then there are other sections where it's really desolate. And you get to these places where they'll actually, if you're trying to rent a house on the beach, they'll say, you can't get there unless you have a truck that can be in four-wheel drive, because it's just sand dunes the whole way out to where you're going to stay. And in those places, those desolate places, you do see these wild horses, these feral horses that are just out on the sand, on the beach, running around, these families of horses. And this island itself, uninhabited by humans, but it's inhabited with these wild feral horses that you can go and see. And just an amazing thing that I don't know if anyone even knows exists. But obviously our composer does, and wrote a tune based on that. You're going to hear a lot of like that Western Magnificent Seven theme type of thing going on. Young Guns, if you remember any of these, or any of those great old Clint Eastwood films. But this music, it feels like that. Even though it's about horses on an island in North Carolina, I still feel that Western vibe. So please enjoy Shackelford Banks. Okay. Hopefully you can see those wild horses running on the banks of North Carolina. All right. Before we close things out with our final number, which I'll explain in a second, I'd like to do the hard part of tonight, and that is recognize our seniors in their final performance on stage. It has been an awesome year from beginning to end. It's always a busy year. It's always a busy time. I know that this senior class, when they were freshmen, we were kind of cruising along in the year. We did Buckeye Invitational. We did our football season. We get into concert band, Christmas concert, come back, start getting ready for the musical. And then as people know, in early 2020, things just kind of shut down. And, we trickled back, little by little. We did a marching season that next year. It was an unusual marching season, but we were able to get out on a field and perform a show. We were able to do a musical. It was unusual, but we were still able to do it. Still able to do a Christmas concert. That year, we did 2 Christmas concerts. In 2021, we did a Christmas concert in January because we had a little delay on it, and then the following December, we did another Christmas concert. The only time it's ever happened to have 2 Christmas concerts in 1 year. Amazing. But these seniors have been the reason that things rolled on and the reason that we marched on. We marched on the shoulders of these kids. Applaud, please. These, and I can't even begin to thank them enough. They are the reason that the traditions that we've had in the past, they witnessed that. They witnessed that marching season in 2019. The one in 20 and 21, though we did it a little bit different. And so they were that tie between the past and what we have now. And I can't thank them enough. I appreciate everything that they've done. They have pushed forward and marched forward and played forward, and that's the reason that we're here. And I want to recognize them now and give that applause. I'm going to have each one of them stand up. And they will get their proper due next Wednesday. If you've checked out, we do have our music department banquet next Wednesday, the 24th. It's at 6 o'clock. It's in the cafeteria at the high school. And we recognize all of our seniors and the awesome job that they've not only done this year, but in all the years leading up to this year. And so without further ado, let's have them stand and remain standing. Our class of 2023 will start in our flute section. Make sure that I get it. In our flute section, on flute and piccolo, Brandy Becky. Brandy is also our field commander during marching band season. Also on the flute, Emma Tran. Amari Thompson. And Brianna Pyle. In our clarinet section, on many clarinets this year, the E-flat clarinet, the B-flat clarinet, did solos on both of them at solo ensemble, performed at the Ohio State Honors Band as well. Sienna Jackson on the clarinet. Also an Ohio State Honors Band participant, Savannah Coyle. Also on clarinet, Alan Hudson. Also, Ohio State Honors Band participant on the bass clarinet and E-flat contra alto clarinet. Say that 10 times fast. We have Katrina Gasper. Moving to our saxophone section, on the alto saxophone, McKenna Loddig. Also on alto saxophone and our section leader for the marching band season, Trevor Buxar. On the tenor saxophone and our load captain this year is an officer, Ryan Childers. On the trumpet, Carson Ardum. Also on trumpet, Mark Lolotis. In our percussion section, and they're already kind of standing, so if they could just raise a hand as if you didn't know who they were. In the percussion section, our section leader, Shariah Gales. Also an Ohio State Honors Band participant. Also in percussion, Derek Rost, over here on bass drum. Angel Hernandez. Also on percussion, the guy with the hair, Philip Lepp. Also our band president. The guy with the hair. And also in our percussion section, Mr. Dylan McKinney. Did I get them all? Okay, I do believe I got everybody. Yeah, I got you, Angel. He's just like, okay, he's the type that would be like, can you give me one more time? Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's have a round of applause for our class of 2023 band students. Thank you so much. Thank you. Good job, guys. This is, it's always so bittersweet, you know, because you know that they're going to the next thing. And I know that I'm going to be living that next year with my own daughter, which is highly emotional. I can't even talk about it. I don't think that they realize that, you know, Mr. Keller, myself, Mr. Black, Mrs. Sullivan, Mrs. Cipriani, like, we have to do this. We have to say goodbye every year, you know. But then the bonus is we get to see them at homecoming. We get to see them when they come back to see a concert or come back to see the musical, or they come back to visit at some point, or they're just wandering around at Strongsville Mall, or just like this past weekend, I happened to see Derek's older brother, Aaron. We're warming up to go into Cedar Point, and he comes running up. He's like, dude, I heard the music. I knew it was you guys. And it's just those moments. Although it is so bittersweet and it's tough to say goodbye, it's awesome to say hello and see what they're doing in their lives. And these seniors have a lot of things planned, and I'm so hopeful for them, and I know that their futures are going to be bright for sure. Let's have one more round of applause for our senior class. Okay, so this next song, as you can read in the program, is unique. Okay? Some people may have witnessed this at one point. This is one of those ones we got to do every so often. It's called Voodoo for a reason, and it is performed in the dark. So there are going to be flashing lights. There are going to be odd noises. To give you an example, there's a moment where the clarinets are only playing on their mouthpiece, or the trumpets pull out a tuning slide and just blow over the top of that like a pop bottle. And so you get all these unique sounds, bird whistles, crickets. There's a mixing bowl that goes shh the entire time. And so it's really to give you like this feeling of being in the moment. Mr. Black has done an outstanding job with the lighting, some of the lighting on this. It is rather dark on stage, but he does some of the mood lighting that we're going to have. This is definitely a unique one. Please stay seated for the entire performance. And please enjoy Daniel Bukvich's Voodoo. Hey, thank you so much. Let's have one more big round of applause for not only our seniors, but all of our band musicians on stage. Let's give it up. Let's have a round of applause. I know that it's one of those positions where he's doing so much and so much setup is involved with this. But man, our YouTube presence is awesome. You're gonna be able to check out this concert if somebody missed it on YouTube tonight. And I know that when we're heading home from an away game, the band is already posted on YouTube for the video that we performed that night, and it has a lot to do with Mr. Black, an alumni of this school, who is proud. Give it up for Mr. Black. Also, none of this would be possible without the benefit of having Mr. Keller along with us every day in band. I know that we had a student teacher this year, and he graduated and kind of moved on, but man, Mr. Keller does an awesome job with our program, and he's over here on the side. Give it up for Mr. Keller. We are going to have a quick transition and bring up our vocal groups tonight. So please bear with us while we kind of shift the stage a little bit, and we'll be right back. Thank you so much.
I'm just going to bring it this way. That was from one of our great composers from the Baroque era, Sound the Trumpet by Henry Purcell. One of my favorites to sing. I know when I brought this out, whenever I bring out a classical kind of piece, they're like, eh. But I think they learned to have some fun with it. So that was Sound the Trumpet. Our next piece is a great spiritual, and actually these guys came to me with this at the end of last year, said they wanted to do this, so we found the arrangement, and here we go, Stand Up. And the solo tonight will be Desiree Gales.
I've been walking my face turned to the sun. Weight on my shoulders, a bullet in my gun. Oh, I got eyes in the back of my head, just in case I have to run. I do what I can when I can, while I can for my people. While the clouds roll back and the stars fill the night, that's when I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. And you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer. Gonna keep on keeping on. I can feel it in my bones. Before the sun begins to shine, there's something towards the submarine line. I'm wading through muddy waters. You know I got a made of mind. And I don't mind if I lose any blood on the way to salvation. And I'll fight with the strength that I got until I die. So I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Can you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. And I know what's around the bend might be hard to face 'cause I'm alone. And I just might fail, but Lord knows I've tried. Shining stars fill up the sky. Stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Can you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Do you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. I can feel it in my
Our next piece is by one of my favorite contemporary composers, Whitacre. We've done several of his pieces throughout the years, and one thing that he is really known for is his really dissonant chords and clashing notes, and then having them resolve. And this is a perfect example of that. And he was actually years and years before the pandemic. He started virtual choirs. So by the time we got here, everybody knew what that was. He had up to, I think it was up to like even 10,000 voices in one of his virtual choirs. He usually starts all of his pieces with a virtual online thing before it gets published. So that's another really cool thing about Ehret Whitacre. Enjoy, sing gently.
May we sing together always. May our voice be song. May our singing be music, and may it keep others apart. Sing, sing, gently, always. Sing, sing as one. May we stay with always. May our voice be strong. May we hear the singing, and may we always sing along. Sing, gently, always. Sing, as one, as Sing gently as one.
And a big thank you to Mrs. Bindis for playing for us tonight. All right, our last piece is For Good. This is a tradition that we've had, and although we do not have any seniors this year, we dedicate it to you seniors up top.
I've heard it said that people come into our lives for a reason, bringing something we must learn, and we are led to those to help us most to grow if we let them, and we help them in return. Well, I don't know if I believe that's true, but I know I'm who I am today because I knew you. Like a comet pulled from orbit as it passes the sun, like a stream that meets a boulder halfway through the wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? But because I knew you, I have been changed for good. It well may be that we will never meet again in this lifetime. So let me say before we part, so much of me is made of what I learned from you. You'll be with me. You'll be with me. Like a handprint on my heart. And now whatever way our stories end, I know you have rewritten mine by being my friend. Like a ship blown from its mooring by a wind off the sea, like a seed dropped by a skybird in a distant wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? But because I knew you, because I knew you, I have been changed for good. And just to clear the air, I ask forgiveness for the things I've done you blamed me for. But then I guess we know there's blame to share, and none of it seems to matter anymore. Like a comet pulled from orbit as it passes the sun, like a stream that meets the boulder halfway through the wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? I do believe I have been changed for the better. And because I knew you, because I knew you, because I knew you, I have been changed for
Thank you so much for coming out this evening and supporting all of our music students here at Brooklyn. I think we've got some senior pictures happening, but have a safe trip home, and thank you so much for being here tonight.